And good day and welcome to this latest episode of If Walls Could Talk. I'm John White of Walls and Ceilings. Today I'm joined by Michael Cheney, president of James River Exteriors, located in Richmond, Virginia. The company specializes in the design and installation of exterior wall claddings. And for those of you that remember, the company was featured in the magazine's January 2015 issue. And once again, joining us is Stephen Sears. Of course, we know him as the executive director of EMA. Good to see you both.
Good to be with you, John. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to you. So I'm going to start off with you, Stephen. So I spied you, I think I'm 99% sure, last week in Texas. Now, okay, I thought that was you. And, I had every intention of coming up and speaking to you, but maybe one of those good problems you have at a trade show is you just kind of get swallowed up in the movement of it all, and you're networking and socializing and all that. But I had every intention of seeing or saying hello to you there. So, which brings us to very recently, EMA had its own event out there, I believe in Palm Springs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mike, were you able to make it at this year's EMA show?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So, Mike, tell us, why are you a member of EMA?
It's just an organization that over the years I've been involved with for, 20 years or better. Just learning tricks of the trade. Being a member there has given us access to all the manufacturers, a bunch of other contractors, just learning about the industry.
And Mike, just reviewing the story we had written on you back in January 2015. Just a couple of years ago, you passed that 30-year mark. So if you've been a member, that's 2/3 of your time with the company as a member of EMA. So why don't you tell us about the show from your perspective?
Well, I thought the convention was a great event for us. We had our working groups, and it turned out that most of the participants in the conference actually came to the working group session. So we got a lot done. We had a lot of input for our various entities we were working on. The speakers, the lady from Stuckey's was amazing, very inspirational. So yeah, I think overall the show was a success for everybody.
Now, if I understand right, Mike, you're also on the board.
Yes.
Okay. So what official title is that?
What is it? Contractor? Stephen, is that correct?
You are the contractor member of EMA's board of directors, so you are a director, and Mike is also the co-chair of the and board liaison of the Workforce Development and Education Working Group.
So Steve, as we discussed at Build 23, you kind of went into some of the duties of the board and why that's important. So, tell us again, why is sitting on the board of EMA important? Why is it great to get involved?
Well, I can speak from the executive director's standpoint, but Mike, if you want to speak from from your standpoint about the value of being on the board, that would be fine.
Yeah, I think it's a position for someone like myself who's passionate about this industry, who's been at it for a long time. This will be 35 years now. I've been in the EIFS industry, almost 36. And, being on the board kind of is a way of giving back, learning a little bit about what's coming, but also trying to have some input into where we're going in the near term to try to grow this industry.
And I can say from the structure of the board, John, one of the things that we like is, as the executive director of EMA and the staff of EMA, we're not the experts in the industry. We don't pretend to be. But it's important to have members of all aspects of the value chain of the EIFS industry represented on the board of directors, because frankly, Mike knows things that the manufacturers and the distributors really aren't going to know. And it's really important to have all aspects of the EIFS value chain represented on the board for that very reason.
So I guess this could be open to both you guys. What resources should other contractors know about?
Well, I mean, the access is one thing. You get to see distributors, contractors, and manufacturers from other parts of the country. You learn about things they do. We have a manual of installation practices that's a good access point to be able to give to clients and discuss proper ways of doing it. I personally think the biggest resource is the intangible part of the networking, being able to talk to other contractors about things that they do. Historically, I can speak for the fact that 20 years ago, give or take, when the insurance industry was a little aflutter about our industry, EMA really helped contractors like myself figure it out and a path forward so that we could continue to do business.
So, guys, at this year's show, what was the big buzz about? I mean, obviously, networking, just like Mike just said, is such an important part of the show. What was the buzz that everyone was talking about? Was there one or two big topics that were addressed?
I'm happy to say, I mean, I'm happy to take that one on if you'd like. From our standpoint, I would say the theme was turning strategic planning into strategic action. And the reason we say that is that the board, and Mike was part of the board at the time, certainly underwent a very robust strategic planning process about a year and a half ago. The strategic plan we're on now was approved about a year ago. And the reason why we did that was that we knew that the EIFS industry sales volume was not tracking other building materials in the construction sector. So the board took it upon themselves to come up with a plan and how to set up EMA so that EMA can be helpful in establishing a path forward for the industry to recapture its, we say, rightful place of wall share. So we've done all that. We've established the new working group structure. We've established a new governance structure, even a new dues structure to go along with the strategic plan. And we call it the connect the dots strategy, where the objectives of the plan are tightly aligned with the strategic objectives of the board and of the working groups. They're all very, very interlinked. And we started with this process of starting to get to work, roll up our sleeves and get to work. And that was kind of one of the themes of having the working groups back in the annual meeting. And as Mike mentioned earlier, having Stephanie Stuckey, the CEO of Stuckey's, speak at our annual meeting was kind of an inspirational business case that you can do it. I mean, Stuckey's is I would say, a very moribund brand in the sense that it used to be really, really great and well-known 40, 50 years ago, but it's fallen by the wayside. And she was articulating very clearly that you can reestablish a path forward. And I think that's one of the things that we tried to get across at the meeting.
Very good. So we look forward to reporting on, I suppose, what you come up with, the Connect the Dots program. So we look forward to, seeing how you chart that growth. Hey, Mike, how's business for you? What's the rest of the year outlook?
I think our next 18 months to 2 years is very strong.
Very good.
We've got some nice projects on board, and it looks like I said, at least in the near term, we're going to be pretty well off. It looks good.
Is that your impression overall in the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast?
Yeah, the market's a little different than it was a few years ago. There's a lot of big projects and a lot of small projects, not much in the middle. But we're James River, being in all the claddings that we do, we're kind of seeing a good upward trajectory for the next year and a half.
So, Mike, you had mentioned that you got a great backlog. I'd say a year and a half, 2 years out is very healthy. Why is that?
Well, I think EIFS is a product that lends itself to being a single source warranty situation. We also do the composite sidings. We do the high-end masonry products. We do stone. And all of those systems are trying to integrate continuous insulation to meet the energy codes into their claddings. But every time we do one of those, we're left trying to take pieces and parts from a half dozen manufacturers and make a system out of it. Whereas EIFS leads the way in being single source, a monolithic program where from weatherbear out to finish, we have the same manufacturing line, and everybody's covered, as well as the fact that EIFS can give you different finishes to look like brick, to look like siding, to look like stone, and all types of metal cladding. So EIFS, our owners and architects are starting to understand the value of using a single source warranty, so that if something goes wrong, there's only one person to call. Things work appropriate.
Steve, do you want to piggyback on that concept there?
Sure. I mean, I would say we certainly agree and support that. That is a key value proposition for all EIFS manufacturers and all EMA members. And I think one of the reasons why we're encouraged by the future of EMA as well as EIFS is that what we're seeing is a viable and healthy future for the EIFS industry. And for those companies and organizations that have a vested interest in a viable and successful EIFS industry, one thing I would encourage people to know is that EMA is the one trade association in North America where we are all EIFS all the time. So if you want to have a successful EIFS industry and you're in that business and you're not a member of EMA, we certainly encourage you to join EMA and participate in all of the working groups and annual meetings and events like that Mike was alluding to earlier.
Steve, as we wrap this up, I'd like to give you the last word. So overall, what's basically in the works for EMA for the next, I guess, until the next show or the rest of the
Sure. So in the pipeline, we've already reestablished, well, I'll just go down by working group struck by the working group. So in the promotion working group, we've already reestablished ourselves as an AIA provider, and we are in the process of completing an AIA educational course, because that is a good place for EMA to be in, is category-wide architectural and design education. And that's going to be along with the insert that we just did. We've just redone our project gallery on our website. So we have over 100 projects featured, showing just how great EIFS can be in various applications, various styles, various geographies. So that's one thing that we've got going on. I think on the advocacy, federal, state, and local, we are reestablishing ourselves as an advocacy player, and a lot of that's going on in the state and local level. A lot of it is in the works, but I think one of the things that we are doing there is that we're not just working by ourselves, we're collaborating with other people with common interests, other groups with common interests at the time. The technical and research group, that's probably our most long-standing and I would say self-directed and strong group. When I came on board, John, it was amazing to me how the members took it upon themselves to get EIFS into the building code the way they did. And that was member-driven, not staff-driven. And to me, that was remarkable that they did that, and they got the Oak Ridge study off the ground by themselves. And the staff basically played a facilitating role in that. And so we're working on things like re-upping that kind of research to make sure that we have updated empirical data. And the Workforce Development Education Group, which Mike is a part of, AWCI is redoing the EIFS Doing It Right program right now, and we are in support of it, and they are working with us on that. And that's going to be an exciting deliverable that it's going to be completed, we think, by the end of this year or the beginning of next year. So we've got a lot of stuff cooking. Again, that's the action part of it. But it's all, again, tied back to what's going on with the objectives of the working groups, which in turn relate to the objectives of the board and of the plan as a whole.
Well, it sounds like you guys are both doing great things. So the future looks bright, huh?
Certainly think so.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Mike just said it, the next 18 months. And the other thing, why it should look bright, John, is with this environment of energy efficiency, continuous insulation requirements, and high performance in the built environment. EIFS is tailor-made to address so many of those needs that are out there right now. And the thing that we like to say is that today's EIFS is the best looking, most flexible, highest performing that it's ever been. It's just that we need to make sure that the message gets out there, that the architects, designers, owners, and local government officials are aware of that fact. And that's going to be a longer term play for us.
And I'm sure that was all addressed at the EMA show. It certainly was resonated at the PCA show, as you probably heard as well, Steve. So listen, gentlemen, this has been a great chat. I certainly thank you for your time. So ladies and germs, again, thanks for tuning into this episode of If Walls Could Talk. I've been joined by Mike Cheney and Stephen Sears. Thank you both.